for the 5th pick in the Sunday 6-pack and my 3rd pick overall, going with the Pittsburgh Steelers as field goal favorites over the Cleveland Browns. And you kind of alluded to it earlier, Stuck. This is not, I think, the best card that we've had so far. It's a little bit tougher. There's kind of like a couple of tiers of types of games. There's like these games in that touchdown range, and there's the games in these field goal, like these closer games. I went with the Steelers because this is a time of year where I think the market starts to get pretty efficient for the most part. I think they're off in a couple of spots, namely those 2 games we just mentioned. But I think you really have to start looking into the coaching and the O-line play at this time of year. And so a couple of the plays I've made, this week or in situations. So offensive line and pressure looms large here. Like if this was just any normal 2 teams, maybe this would be about 3.5, 4 points for the Steelers, but I actually make this 5. And the reason is Baker Mayfield against pressure is not the situation you want to be backing the Browns in. The Steelers #1 in the league in pressure rate at 40%. That is ungodly. 40% pressure rate for the Steelers. Baker Mayfield, if you look at his numbers this season under pressure, he is – hold on, let me make sure I have this. Yeah, okay. So Pro Football Focus has 34 qualified quarterbacks that meet the minimum dropback requirement for passer rating under pressure. Baker Mayfield is 33 of 34 with a 30.9 passer rating under pressure this season. This is just not the spot. 1 touchdown, 3 picks, not the spot that you want Baker Mayfield going against the Steeler defense. Everything else, I think, offensively, both of these teams playing well. The Browns are actually better, I think a little better without Chubb. He's been middling in success rate. Kareem Hunt's been near the top of the league. The Steelers, I mean, remember Stuck when they told us that this was not a good year for rookies and rookie receivers weren't gonna do well? Chase Claypool said, forget that. Forget all that shit. I mean, just like
and Jefferson too.
Ruggs had a long touchdown. There's a difference in the game for the Raiders last week. So, but the Steelers they have 2. I mean, the Steelers got 60 rushing yards on 2 carries from Ray McLeod. They're special teamer. Like the Steelers are clicking on offense. I think that having a extra bye early in the season really helped them. Because their defense was already really good and their offense, they're kind of getting it together and they've been able to weather the storm. They're going to be able to weather the storm, even if Deontay Johnson, who we thought was going to be one of their top 3 receivers, is out because of how well Claypool is playing. And now Ray McLeod, even they're getting productive snaps out of him. You have McFarland starting to do some things in the backfield, so it's not just Connor. You have 4 backs you can throw in there. Roethlisberger is getting it done. It's out of all these kind of older quarterbacks, him and Rodgers are really, I think, looking the best. So the Steelers team, I keep feeling like there's a time that I'm going to want to bet against them, but this line has moved a little bit in toward the Browns from and against the Steelers, and so I bet it at 4, then I bet it again at 2.5, and BetMGM, the official odds provider of the podcast, has it at 3. I like it at 3. This is completely a play on Baker Mayfield struggling against pressure. Not the type of matchup for him, especially against a team that you really can't knock it like for any major weaknesses in the Steelers. Whereas the Browns, they've been playing well, especially on offense, but the defense has been a little shaky. Phillip Rivers gave them 9 points last week. I knew that was going to happen eventually, and it came out. We were both on the Colts on that one. I mean, on the Browns on that one, luckily, but that's not going to happen every week. I don't think it happens this week. So going with the Steelers as field goal favorites.
Yeah, I've been higher on the Browns in the market all year long. Going back to the Bengals game when I bet them, when I had them 8.5, they should have covered them, so over that. But I mean, this is, the win against the Colts was impressive to me, and I still want. They have been running pretty lucky in turnovers, so there could be some regression there. The Steelers, I mean, look, they've beat the Giants by 10, the Broncos and their backups by 5, the Texans by 7, and then the Eagles by 9. So like I can't get too impressed with what the Steelers have done so far against teams. They haven't beat a team with more than one win yet this year. Their offensive line isn't as good as it's been in the past for a variety of reasons. I want to see first. One thing I want to watch here is what Myles Garrett and how that all goes down. This is the next. This is like last year there was all that drama. We can see how chippy it's going to get. But I've been higher on the Browns than the market all year, and I'm high on the Steelers too. But I may actually make this 2.5. But it's going to be we're going to learn a lot about both teams, and especially the Steelers. And yeah, look, I don't think your handicap is wrong about saying Mayfield is struggling under pressure. Yeah, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 42.5% completion percentage. When he's kept clean, is 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, 68% completion percentage. So can Cleveland offensive line keep him clean? And Cleveland's offensive line has been awesome. One of the best in the NFL. They're number 1 in adjusted line yards, so their run blocking is great too. And that they're going up against a Pitt defensive line. It's number 1 in adjusted line yards and number 1 in adjusted sack rate. So it's strength on strength here. One of the things that might swing this battle is Wyatt Teller might be out for the Browns. He's arguably been the best guard in the NFL this year. Hubbard stepped in okay for him last week when he went out, but this is a different beast in the Steelers defensive line. So yeah, that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to, can the Browns scheme Mayfield away from or out of pressure enough to move the ball? So yeah, I have this line spot on. I think it'll be a really good game. But I can't disagree with your cap, because that's basically what's happening this year with the Browns is twofold. It's their offensive line. So they address their offensive line via the draft, via offseason acquisitions, and the coaching changes. And what was wrong with Mayfield before is he was just bailing out of the pocket under pressure, throwing picks, rushing it. But now with the offensive line better, and then their scheme being better and the play calling being better, they're putting him in easier situations that cater to his skill set. Can they still do that against this dominant Steelers defensive line? If they can't, you're right. He's going to flop, as he always does under pressure. So I don't hate the handicap there.
Yeah, and
probably a stay away from me though.
Real quick. I mean, yeah, I agree with you on the Steelers. I think they're a quality of opponent. It hasn't been good, but you look at the Browns. I mean, they beat the football team. The Bengals they don't cover against. They beat the football team. They rack up the score. They get Dallas, who, let's be real, they were way overrated coming into the year. And then the Colts give them 9. Philip Rivers gives them 9 points. So they essentially played the Colts even, which fine. But you look at the one opponent that has, like, I would say an above average offense, above average defense, because I don't consider the Colts to have an above average offense, really, not with Rivers playing like that. I think they came in number 24 in DVOA. The only team that really does that they played was the Ravens. That was on opening day. Now, maybe it was COVID and, preparation, but they got blown out 38-6. So, in this situation, I'm not ready to give the Browns all that credit yet. I think they're just another one of these teams, kind of like the Packers, that they've run into some really favorable opponents. And you're right, we will learn a lot about them. But at a field goal, I think I have to go Steelers. Like that I think the opener was a little closer. And you may prove right though, because it's a division game. Anything could happen. We saw it with the Raiders. But yeah, I'm not impressed with the Browns opponents either.